One of the things that people struggle with the most that's keeping them from accomplishing their goals or being super successful is not learning how to deal with distractions. Is that something that happens to you? Let's get into it. I talk about this a lot because this is something that I personally have struggled with in my entrepreneurship journey. And I think a lot of people do. And when it really comes down to it, you really need to ask yourself, how are you dealing with your distractions? Do you even notice that you get distracted all the time? And are you even capable of really clearly understanding how to deal with those? If you look at some of the most successful people in the world, I can tell you that you will catch times when they talk about this very thing. They understand that in order for them to get what they need to get done, they're staying focused, and that means that they're avoiding distractions. What do some of these successful people do? They are extremely disciplined. They're centered. They know what they're looking to accomplish. They're keeping their eye on the ball. And if you want to be like them, or if you want to take the next level step, this is one of the things that you're going to learn how to do, and you better learn how to do it well. Because if you don't, then you're going to be consistently staying at that level that you're trying to get out of. So some of the things that a lot of people don't really think about is their surroundings. What are we constantly be getting distracted by? We live in a world that is full of distractions, whether it's just the constant information flow, computers, work, notifications, not prioritizing your day, people constantly interrupting, not staying focused on what's going to get you to where you need to be, and making a conscious decision to put everything else first outside of the thing that you need to get done. It's a clear way to give yourself an excuse, in my opinion, to just not get it done. It's human nature. We look for every excuse. People like to procrastinate. It's just full and unintentional, but we find ourselves not pushing ourselves to do the things that we need to do to get it done. And understanding and becoming more self-aware of what these things are, these triggers, these very things that get you derailed and demotivated, and ultimately keeping you from accomplishing your goal that you need to get done that day is what you need to figure out. And it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take some insane thought. It's really just about getting grounded and getting to know who you are and becoming more self-aware and understanding that in order to do the things that you want to accomplish, you just have to be disciplined. You have to take the time to put in the work and put in the reps. And the best way to really do that is to make sure that you're getting centered. We're all guilty of it, but the people that are killing it right now are the ones that have trained themselves to make sure that those distractions don't affect them, don't get inside of their mind, don't disrupt their flow, don't disrupt their creativity, because they've learned to be disciplined in what it's going to take, for them to get to the next level or what they need to accomplish. I mean, take anybody that you know that is super successful, all these people that have accomplished so much, and you're going to understand that they're all extremely disciplined. They have a routine. They set themselves up for success because they understand if you don't have a routine, if you don't have a plan, if you don't have discipline, then you're not going to be able to consistently do the reps that you're going to need to do to propel yourself forward. Whatever it is, whether it's your business, whether it's your health, whether it's your family, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same foundational principle of understanding that distractions are always going to continue to get in the way and ultimately give you so much chaos that you don't even have the ability to focus on what you need to focus on. It's extremely inefficient. It also causes a lot of stress. It's a precursor to a bad emotional response. You don't get things done. You get demotivated. You get frustrated. Your business suffers. Your family suffers. And it all really goes back down to whether or not you just want to be in the business of putting out fires all the time. And if you are, then maybe you need to talk to someone or talk to a professional or maybe talk to a mentor, because there is something that triggers that we actually are efficient because we are doing something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing the things that we need to do. And in my opinion, I've suffered from this, and it's not like, oh, well, I was able to get over it at this particular period in the journey. But every time I get to a new level or a new space, I almost have to go through this process again of getting centered, learning what I'm capable of tolerating, understanding what's causing distraction and making sure that I identify that, being more self-aware and really getting down to the nitty-gritty of what it's going to take for me to develop a routine to make sure that I can manage those well. So it's really a choice. It's a conscious choice. You're going to make that choice on whether or not you're going going to give into those distractions, you're going to make that choice on whether or not you are going to do what it takes to get centered and become more disciplined. And one of the best ways to do that I found is making sure that you put a routine together that you do every day that you can follow. And it needs to be something realistic. So mine, I like to wake up. I like to get centered. I like to go outside. I like to exercise. I like to drink coffee. I like to talk with my wife early in the morning. I want to lay out my day, identify the things that I need to get done. And I make sure that I give myself some time slots that are not going to get interrupted to make sure that I'm going to be able to get those things done well. If I know that I'm going to have a lot of busy work, I might set myself up for success by doing it in the early morning, in the real early morning before the day actually starts, before the time when people are going to come and interrupt me or phone calls are going to come in or that email. But giving yourself that ability and that discipline to set that time aside is what it's going to take for you to be really good at this. And yes, it's going to take practice and it's going to take consistency. You have to do it over and over again. You also need to understand how much time it takes you to do something, and don't shortchange yourself when you're giving yourself some time blocks to be able to navigate whatever you need to navigate or get done. Because if you're not giving yourself enough time, which happens a lot, and you're trying to cut things close, there's a lot of times where you're going to get pushed behind, because sometimes, as you all know, not giving yourself some buffer is going to push you outside of that comfort zone or comfort time frame that's going to give you the ability to get what you needed to get done efficiently for that day. And the other thing is when you're in that zone, when you need to get something done, you need to let your team know that you're not to be disturbed. You're not to be distracted, right? They don't need to come in, and unless it's an utter emergency, you need to let them know that that is your space and that is your time, because you got a very specific thing that you need to get done. And last, it's always, always super important that you are surrounding yourself with people that have that mindset too, because there's nothing more discouraging or derailing is when you're around people that don't have the same discipline that you do. So if that's something that you need to take actionable steps on, I highly encourage you to always take that moment and see who you're running with or what you're doing and who you're hanging out with, because ultimately that's going to give you the determination on whether or not you're going to be disciplined and stay to the course to give yourself the best chance to be successful. These aren't hard things. Getting yourself into a simple routine on a daily basis is going to give you the best shot of making sure that you're handling these distractions in the way that you need to so you can be successful. If you found this episode helpful, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. And if you like what you hear, subscribe. You can find us on YouTube at HeyCharles Biz, and we're HeyCharles77 on TikTok and Instagram. See you next time.